Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. I know you could be doing anything with your time and energy, but you're here spending it with me, so I am so grateful. I'm very excited to present today's masterclass for you. It's going to be jam-packed with high-value information. It might be a lot of information. So, some of it might be very technical, but all I want you to do is just be present here with me. Hi, Eleanor. Good to see you. Okay, so you don't have to worry about getting all the information down. You will be getting this replay and it will be live for a limited time. Okay. So before we dive in, just a quick note, everything inside this master class is copyrighted. So I would ask you that you keep it in this place. No recordings, please, no screenshots, but this material will be part of a paid course down the road. So if you'd love to revisit it, watch for an email from me. But of course, feel free to take notes. Okay. So, all right, before we get started, I just wanted to facilitate a grounding meditation to get you settled in a relaxed state first. We're going to cover a lot of information here today, but when you're in a relaxed state, your brain is so much more receptive to this information. You're going to absorb it that much more easily. So I don't want your mind to just understand these concepts logically, but I want your heart and your body to have that inner knowing as well. So let's begin the meditation. If you want to lay down, sit for a bit, it's just going to be a few minutes. So just want to invite you to either close your eyes if it feels good and safe to you, or perhaps just have a downwards glance, having a soft gaze at the floor. Either way is perfect. You know yourself the best. And feeling the safety of gravity grounding you into the seat beneath you. Taking a deep breath into your belly, breathing in gratitude. Perhaps it's gratitude for yourself, for showing up for yourself, gratitude for the functions of your body. Maybe you feel less pain today. Maybe you have a bit more energy. And perhaps having gratitude for a loved one in your life, for them being a special light for you. And breathing out anything that doesn't serve you. I'm guessing if you're here with me today, there is a piece of you that feels that something might be missing in your health journey. I invite you to lean into that sense of trust and confidence in your guidance that brought you here, knowing that you are in the right place and right time, and things work out perfectly for you, always, in all ways, even if it doesn't make sense in the moment. And for today's session, knowing that your subconscious mind is doing all the work for you, even if your conscious mind didn't exactly pick up everything I said, or pick up all the concepts that were shared today, just trusting that your subconscious and your body is going to retrieve the exact pieces of information that's needed for you to hear today. The truth that you need for healing. And with that sensing, feeling, a golden waterfall coming up from above, coming down, down, down from the top of your head, going down your forehead, down your throat, shoulders, heart, abdomen, hips, thighs, knees, all the way to the tips of your toes. And a pink light coming from the center core of the earth, coming up to your toes, traveling up your knees, hips, abdomen, heart, throat, all the way to the top of your head, creating a pillar of light, a pillar of truth, connecting you to your higher self, connecting you to the remembrance of who you actually are, a being of light and love, of infinite potential. Now breathing that energy into your heart, feeling it spread to every single cell, recalibrating it to the frequency of life and vitality. And whenever you're ready, I invite you to open your eyes, feeling awake, alert, fresh, curious as you are fully present here with me today for the masterclass. All right. So I hope everyone feels a bit more grounded. I know it's in the middle of the day. Again, thank you for joining me. All right. So hello, my name is Victoria. So wonderful to have everyone here today. The goal of today's masterclass is to provide you with a framework, what I have personally developed and call the healing hierarchy, so that you can identify the missing pieces in your health journey. And towards the end, this is going to be positioned between steps 2 and 3 of the healing hierarchy. We're going to do a live subconscious reset session. It will fuse together clinical hypnosis and energy healing to reprogram your subconscious mind and frequency to align with the identity of someone who's already healed. So this is going to be a taste of step 2 of the healing hierarchy. And lastly, I will offer you an invitation to my paid group transformation course called the Becoming. This is basically after understanding the framework, this will be a vehicle for you to apply the knowledge, since the framework is just the beginning. And knowing and doing are very different things. That's why I created Becoming, which is a live group experience for 3 months where I would walk and coach you through each phase with the tools, support, and accountability that will make the difference between insight and actual transformation. So if you're interested, I will share the details at the very end so we can explore whether it's the right fit for you. All right, so let's get started. All right, so I'm sure for those of you with health issues or chronic illness, you have tried everything: protocols, diets, detoxes, supplements, specialists, and yet you still feel stuck. And I'm just here to say that's not your fault, right? Because conventional medical doctors, they focus on treating or masking the physical symptoms. For example, if you have a stomach ache and you go to the gastroenterologist, perhaps they give you antibiotics or Tums to treat it. Or maybe you go to the naturopathic doctor, functional medicine doctor, integrative medicine doctor, and it's a bit better because they try to look for the root cause. They try to identify the dysfunction in the organ systems that's causing the stomach ache. So perhaps they give you a bit of a better answer, like it's leaky gut, and they give you probiotics and tell you to drink bone broth. But what I found is that most practitioners leave out how the nervous system plays a major role in your healing. By the way, the nervous system includes your brain, spinal cord, and the vast networks of nerves running throughout your entire body. So your nervous system is a master regulator of every and all of your physiological functions. Your thinking, your gut function, your immune system, your hormones, your movement. And here's what nobody told me, and maybe nobody told you either. If your nervous system is locked in a chronic survival state, and for those of us with chronic illness, that is most certainly the case, none of those interventions can fully land because your body is too busy surviving to heal. So, all the different techniques that I discussed today, all the approaches I talked to you about, contribute to the overarching role of how the nervous system is a major participant in your healing. So, my intention is that I help shorten the timeline for you and provide a blueprint for you to reclaim your health, life, and sovereignty back so that you don't have to spend and waste as much time, money, and energy like I did trying to figure out all the pieces to healing. My second intention is that you walk away with hope, knowing that your body has the innate intelligence to heal and that the power is in your hands. Okay. Disclaimer, I'm not telling you to stop listening to your doctors. This is not to replace doctors or to say that doctors are not needed. This is not medical advice. This is just to say that the paradigm under which conventional medicine and even naturopathic and functional medicine operate can be incomplete. And I'm just providing you with a framework on how to approach your healing journey. So I am not knocking on any of these professions. In fact, I was a pre-medical student 10 years ago and got accepted into conventional medical school. And I ended up attending naturopathic medical school for 1 year before I got really, really sick. So I have the utmost respect for these professions. I just want to provide you with keys that might complement what you're currently doing. And I'm just here to say that you have more power than you know, and you can be an active participant in your healing. So, my backstory, it took me almost 8 years to heal holistically from chronic late-stage Lyme disease, CIRS, mold illness, and prior to these diagnoses, I was misdiagnosed for 4 years by conventional medicine, functional medicine, naturopathic medicine, integrated medicine, and I was given 15 plus different diagnoses. I was diagnosed with PCOS, fibromyalgia, SIBO, chronic fatigue syndrome, mast cell activation syndrome, heavy metals, EBV, IBS, parasites, you name it. And each of these came with their own set of treatments, yet I kept getting sicker despite following the protocols. So, when I finally got the diagnosis of Lyme disease, I was actually relieved because I felt like I finally found the right answer. But even after seeing 10, 15, 20 plus doctors and spending multiple six figures, I was at my worst point. My rock bottom was when I was bedridden, paralyzed in half my body, with numbness and tingling, shooting nerve pain, fatigue, joint pain, brain fog, blurred vision, ringing ears. I was a hot mess. And it wasn't until I learned how my nervous system played a role in my healing journey that I began to see changes and positive shifts in my health. That missing piece was the starting point of my healing journey. And it was shocking that no doctor or practitioner ever discussed the nervous system in their treatment approach. After that, it took me another few years to learn how important it was to address the mind and the soul as well, because any misalignment or imbalance in the mind and soul also affects the nervous system. So I believe it is a necessity to address the nervous system, the mind, and soul in order to heal the body. And I believe in this so much that I went back to school to get my master's degree in applied psychophysiology, which is the science of how the brain, mind, and body interact, with a specialization in optimal performance and getting certified in clinical hypnosis, rapid resolution therapy, which is a style of clinical hypnosis developed by Dr. John Connolly, a psychologist, Functional diagnostic nutrition, think of it as a functional health coach where I can order labs and identify healing opportunities and dysfunctions in the body and offer protocol and supplement recommendations. And Reiki energy healing. And I'm currently working on my certifications for neurofeedback and QEEG, which is brain training and brain mapping. So the integration of all these techniques, all these modalities allow me to fully address the brain, mind, body, and soul. So let's get into the healing hierarchy. Step one is regulate. And where we are starting, it's not with supplements, it's not with labs, not with protocols, but it's with your nervous system. Again, the master regulator of all of your physiological functions controls all your organ systems, and it includes the networks of nerves that goes to everywhere in your body. So in simple terms, everything your body does is controlled by the nervous system. So your nervous system has two operating modes. Think of it like a seesaw. You can only be in one mode at a time, sympathetic or parasympathetic. Sympathetic starts with S. So think of stress, survival mode. You're in fight or flight state, and your body is preparing for threat and danger. So think of how your body responds when you're running from a tiger. Your heart rate elevates, blood rushes away from your brain and to your muscles so that you can run faster. And when blood rushes away from your prefrontal cortex of your brain, you lose access to your logic, reasoning, problem-solving skills, creativity. Your digestion is also suppressed. Your immune system is compromised. And importantly, repair, reproduction, regeneration, restoration, that's not a priority. Surviving is the priority. Next, we have the parasympathetic. Starts with P. So think of paradise, peace. This is your resting and digesting mode. You're feeling relaxed, feeling safe. So think of how your body responds when you're just hanging out at the resort pool on a vacation. Blood flows back to your internal organs, such as your gut, liver, reproductive system. You have optimal blood flow to your brain, and your digestion is great, so you can break down the food and actually absorb the nutrients. Your immune system comes back online. So this is the state where healing and repair occurs. So healing is a parasympathetic job. And for most people with health issues or chronic illness, being sick is a constant source of stress. So their brain, mind, and body has been stuck in the sympathetic survival mode. Now, I just want to clarify that being in the sympathetic state is not inherently bad. Exercise activates the sympathetic nervous system. The feeling of excitement activates the sympathetic nervous system. Orgasm activates the sympathetic nervous system. The point is, a healthy, regulated nervous system can toggle back and forth fluidly between sympathetic and parasympathetic based on the body's needs and circumstances. So the problem arises when you are chronically stuck in sympathetic dominance. This is a dysregulated nervous system, and this is what most people with health issues or chronic illness are experiencing. So, a good analogy is to think of the nervous system as the conductor of an orchestra that directs different groups of musicians, aka different organ systems. So with a good conductor, aka a regulated nervous system, they can direct the entire orchestra to play harmoniously and beautifully. With a bad conductor, a dysregulated nervous system, they can't direct the musicians to play in unison, right? Some musicians are playing off beat, off tune, and the outcome is just chaotic noise. So what does your body look like when your nervous system is dysregulated, when you are chronically in the sympathetic state? you feel tired but wired, right? Exhausted in the body, but wired in the mind. You have poor disruptive sleep. You wake up at 2 or 3 a.m. and can't get back to sleep. And that's because your brain is constantly searching for threat. So you're a very light sleeper. You never sleep deeply. You experience cognitive fog. Words slip away. Concentration is impossible. You have emotional reactivity. You feel everything more intensely, such as irritability, depression, anxiety, and the emotions just feel like you're stuck in them. It's hard to get out of the funk. You have low tolerance for stress, and that's because your capacity is already maxed out, just trying to maintain baseline. So if anything goes wrong, you just fall apart. You experience sensitivities to foods, chemicals, light, sound, EMFs, temperature. And important to note, you have digestive dysfunction. You're not properly breaking things down. So that means you're not absorbing what you're putting in. So every supplement, every protocol, every treatment you tried has been attempted inside a body that is not in a state to receive it. So this is why people do everything right and see minimal results. Okay, so nervous system regulation is a very trendy topic right now in the health and wellness space. If you search it up, you'll see how people offer advice on how to regulate your nervous system. I'm just going to go over what it's not. These are all lovely, but just to clarify and distinguish the difference. Positive thinking, we will discuss that later on. It's not enough to regulate your nervous system when your brain and body feels unsafe at a cellular level. Okay. Relaxing, like sitting on the couch, scrolling on the phone, that's not regulating your nervous system. And to an extent, that might also be just numbing out. And depending on what you're watching too, that can be very overstimulating for your nervous system. Self-care activities. Having a slow Sunday, that's super nice. Doing stretching is relaxing. Playing with your dog is emotionally nourishing. Lighting a candle or taking a bath. All lovely things, don't get me wrong. These activities are helpful in that it's not taxing or demanding on your nervous system, but they're still not enough to actually shift your nervous system from sympathetic to parasympathetic. Some common techniques to regulate your nervous system you probably heard: meditation, mindfulness, breath work, somatic practices. But for those with health issues and chronic illness, it's not enough. It's incomplete. And they're not going to move the needle for someone whose brain, mind, and body has been in survival mode for years. Because just dealing with health issues already puts and keeps you in survival mode. So you need a targeted, clinically informed intervention to truly ingrain safety at the neurological level. All right, so we have established that people with health issues or chronic illness, which is considered a constant state of stress, are most likely in the sympathetic survival state. To go even deeper, what most people and practitioners fail to talk about is the extent of how dysregulated their nervous systems are. Limbic system hypersensitivity is an extension of that. It's a core issue of nervous system dysregulation in those with chronic illness or health issues. Limbic system hypersensitivity is when the brain's threat detection and alarm system is chronically on and won't turn off. So you won't access healing when you're in the state. And it's extremely, extremely common in people with Lyme disease, CIRS, mold illness, autoimmune disorders, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, long COVID. And this is why you react to everything, right? Why a whiff of perfume, certain foods, flickering lights, a loud sound, emotional stress, that all sends you into a flare-up or spiral. So this is not to say that it's in your head. It's not in your head. It is your brain doing exactly what it was trained to do, which is to sound the alarm when it detects danger. But the thing is, it's labeling everything as danger, and your body is responding accordingly. So think of a fire alarm. that gets triggered every single time you cook something. The sensitivity has been turned up all the way up. And so it can't distinguish between a real threat and a false alarm. So every stimulus, like a chemical, food, emotion, that gets processed as a threat. And then your body responds accordingly with inflammation, with reactivity, with amplified symptoms. So this is not an immune system problem alone. When you look upstream, this is a nervous system problem, and your brain is stuck in this pattern. But there's a way out. There's a concept in neuroscience called neuroplasticity, meaning your brain is plastic, it's changeable, it's malleable, it's rewirable. And here's the good news. If your brain learned that pattern of limbic system hypersensitivity, of being stuck in the sympathetic survival mode, that means it can unlearn it. The alarm system that got stuck on the on position can be turned down. The sensitivity can be recalibrated. But the thing is, you can't think your way out of this. And a day at the spa to relax is not going to fix this. Again, you need a targeted, clinically informed intervention that is focused on resolving limbic system hypersensitivity, which will resolve nervous system dysregulation and will shift you out from sympathetic to parasympathetic state. And you do this by utilizing pattern interrupt and rewiring techniques to ingrain deep, genuine safety at the neurological level. So your body has the conditions to finally heal. And that's why I take clients through if you were to join Becoming, the group course. All right. So that concludes step one, regulate your nervous system and instilling safety at the neurological level. Step two is reprogram. Specifically, reprogramming your identity from sick to healed through the mind and soul. This is a deeper step into healing that will not just regulate your nervous system, but also ensuring that your thoughts, beliefs, emotions, and energy are in alignment with healing so that the body can follow. So first, I want to discuss epigenetics. And basically, you can't change your genetics, but that doesn't dictate your destiny. Epigenetics explains that it's the signals from our environment and lifestyle that impact gene expression. So whether certain genes turn on or turn off. So this can be the genes for healing or the genes for disease. So think of your genes, your DNA, like a piano. All the piano keys are the different genes. So which keys get pressed, aka which genes turn on, and which piano keys stay silent, aka which genes turn off, that's determined by your environment, your experiences, your emotions, thoughts, energetic state. And this determines what type of music is being played. Otherwise, this determines your health status. So, every thought you think produces a corresponding chemistry in your body. Every emotion you feel creates a cascade of neuropeptides that travel to every cell, instructing your biology on how to respond. So if you're thinking, I'm sick, nothing's working, my body's broken, your body is receiving those thoughts as biological instructions. So your thoughts are not just thoughts. Your emotions are not just emotions. They are signals. They are biological instructions, and your body is always listening. So I just want to get the point across of how empowering this is, because instead of waiting for something external to come and help you, it is your inner state that consists of your thoughts, emotions, beliefs. That is one of the most powerful regulators of gene expression that you have immediate access to right here, right now. So true healing really does come from within you. All right, so let's talk about your mind. And the best way to simplify it is to think of it as the conscious mind and subconscious mind. I know there's also unconscious as well, but let's just keep it like this. So the conscious mind is the analytical, planning, logical mind, the one you're using right now to listen to me, the one that maybe had a hunkering that something's off, maybe your health is off, the one that decided to go to the doctor, the one that scheduled your appointments, the one that planned your meals and supplement timing. Your subconscious, the one that is out of your conscious awareness, is always running silent in the background 24/7. This one governs your automatic behaviors, your emotional responses, your deeply held beliefs about yourself and the world. And one of the jobs of the subconscious mind is to prioritize safety. So, for the next few segments, we're going to focus on the subconscious mind first, because if we don't have the subconscious mind in alignment with the conscious mind, which is the one that sets goals, like health goals, this is where we see self-sabotage patterns appear. So, if you ever had the experience of making progress and then mysteriously crashing, or maybe sabotaging yourself right when things start getting better, or maybe having deep, strong resistance to the very things that you know would help you. Most people call that self-sabotage, but that's not exactly what it is. And here's what's happening. So, your subconscious will keep you away from things that it deems unsafe, dangerous, unfamiliar, unknown. And somewhere along the way, through your experiences, through your programming, through what you learn around the world, when it comes to health, your subconscious can sabotage your healing goals if it came to the conclusion that getting better is dangerous, not safe. And I know that sounds counterintuitive. So let me share what I found in myself and others with chronic illness or health issues. Because when I really got honest and did the inner work, I realized that there were parts of me that needed to stay sick. Not consciously, not by choice, but subconsciously, there were real legitimate needs being met by me staying sick. So these are common themes. See if you identify with any of these. So being sick allowed me to slow down in a culture that had taught me my worth was tied to my productivity and achievements. Being sick allowed me to say no without guilt, to set boundaries, because prior to that, I had spent most of my life as a people pleaser, saying yes to everyone else at the cost of myself. Being sick allowed me to receive care, attention, and love, to let people take care of me, something I hadn't experienced as much because I was always the one who was giving to others, because I felt that my value in friendships, relationships was based on how much I gave. Being sick forced me to finally listen to my body and honor what it needed, which was rest, instead of pushing it, punishing it, controlling it the way I had for years. Being sick prevented me from returning to my unsustainable lifestyle, where I was working in the emergency department. I had night shifts. I went to the gym for hours because I couldn't cope with my emotions. I was eating 1,200 calories of egg whites, broccoli, chicken breasts. I was constantly staying busy. So, do you see what's happening here? My subconscious made the conclusion that returning to health is dangerous. Returning to health means going back to burning yourself out, ignoring your needs, not receiving care, saying yes to everyone else while saying no to yourself. So it was keeping me sick, not out of malicious intent, but out of a genuine misguided attempt to protect me. So the illness was a solution. And in psychology, there's a concept called secondary gain. Secondary gain in this situation is when part of you, subconsciously, unconsciously, holds on to being sick because staying sick is getting you something. It's benefiting you, whether that's rest, attention, relief from responsibilities, or permission to finally slow down. So secondary gain doesn't mean you want to be sick. It doesn't mean you're faking it. It doesn't mean that healing is impossible. It just means that somewhere beneath the surface, your illness is quietly solving a problem for you. And this is more common than you think, not just in the chronic illness space, but also across high performance environments. So I study performance optimization as part of my graduate training. And one of the most striking findings is that self-sabotage is common amongst professional athletes. And these are some of the most disciplined, driven humans on the planet. But when they get injured, for a lot of them, subconsciously, it's a sigh of relief, right? Because the injury gives them something that their identity wouldn't allow them to take, which is permission to rest, an exit from the immense mental pressure that they're under. So the illness or the injury does their nervous system a favor that their willpower never could. So that's what was happening for me and for also other people I see with chronic illness. So again, it doesn't mean you want to be sick. It doesn't mean you're making it up. And this is where we use clinical hypnosis so that your subconscious can learn that you can be safe and healthy and have your needs met without having to stay sick. All right, so that's the first piece of the subconscious mind. It's designed to protect us, but somewhere along the way, it has concluded that returning to health is dangerous. So it will cause self-sabotage patterns. The second piece regarding the subconscious mind, the belief systems, the thought patterns, the emotional blueprints, the identity programs running in your subconscious mind, a lot of them, you did not consciously, intentionally install them yourself. A lot of them came from the people who raised you, from early childhood experiences, from your culture, media, school system. This is what your subconscious used to catalog as lessons about how the world works, who you are, what's considered safe. So it was programmed into you, and it does affect how your biology is run. So here's what I mean. If your subconscious mind is still operating from the identity of the sick person, like I'm sick, I can't trust my body, or it has absorbed what the medical system has told you, that your condition is chronic, that full recovery is unlikely, that there's no cure, that this is just how your life is now, that programming will override every conscious effort you make to heal. So remember epigenetics, because it's your subconscious beliefs, emotions, identity that's sending signals to your genes, and your body's obeying that. So that's why positive thinking alone doesn't work, because logic alone is often insufficient to reach the subconscious mind. So you can consciously want to heal, but still feel like your body is working against you. And in a real sense, it's responding to the deeper program in the subconscious. So again, that's why clinical hypnosis is very powerful at this stage. Hypnosis quiets the part of your mind that second guesses and analyzes everything. So you can easily more access the deeper part of your mind that runs on autopilot. Clinical hypnosis speaks directly to the subconscious in its native language, which is emotion, imagery, and storytelling. So that's how we go in and reprogram the unhelpful beliefs, the stuck emotional patterns, and most importantly, the identity, shifting you from someone who is sick and trying to heal to someone who is already healed. All right, so now that you understand the subconscious mind, we're still in the step 2 of the healing hierarchy, which is reprogram the identity. I'm now going to discuss a topic that ties in the nervous system, the limbic system that we just learned, and the subconscious mind, and how the body responds to that. And the next topic is something that all my conventional medicine, naturopathic medicine, functional medicine, integrated medicine doctors skipped over completely. And I get it, it's not in their wheelhouse, but patients should at least be educated on how this impacts their healing. And that is trauma. And I know that word can feel heavy, maybe even uncomfortable, but stay with me because this is important. Now, when most people hear the word trauma, they think of something catastrophic, right? Like war, natural disaster, violent assault. But trauma is actually much more common than that. It can be the resentment you still carry towards a family member who made you feel like you were never enough, or the bitterness towards an ex after a relationship ended badly, or spending years trying to prove yourself to people who once made fun of you, or grief that was never fully felt. So these experiences don't have to be dramatic to leave a mark. What matters is that these traumatic experiences were never fully processed. And as a result, they can become stuck in the body, and the body is holding that for you. So I disagree with the statement, time heals all wounds. I don't think you can passively let time pass and expect to heal, because forgetting about something is not the same as healing from it. Staying busy, pushing forward, getting over it, those are all ways of avoiding stuffing it down, but that's not actually processing what happened. And here's what I want you to understand from a science standpoint. So, Dr. Vanderkolk, a psychiatrist and trauma researcher, wrote a book called The Body Keeps the Score. And it speaks directly to this, that unresolved trauma doesn't just disappear when you stop thinking about it. It gets stored, not in your conscious mind, but below that. And scientists call this implicit memory, memory that gets encoded in your nervous system and shapes your thoughts, emotions, behaviors, beliefs, bodily responses automatically without you ever consciously thinking about it. So think of it like this. Your brain has a filing system, memories that you can consciously access, things that you can talk about, reflect on, make sense of. Those go in one drawer. But traumatic experiences don't always get filed there. They get filed somewhere else entirely, in your body, in your nervous system, and in the part of your brain called the limbic system, which we went over in the previous step. The limbic system is your brain's alarm system and threat detection system. So here's the thing about the limbic system. It doesn't speak the language of logic or reasoning. It speaks the language of feelings and sensations. And its one job is to keep you safe. So when it perceives a threat, even one that isn't actually happening right now, it sends a signal to your nervous system that says, danger, survival mode, and your body responds accordingly. So remember the sympathetic survival state where your heart rate increases, blood rushes away from your brains to the muscle, digestion shuts down, immune system suppressed. So the problem is when trauma hasn't been fully processed, the alarm doesn't fully turn off. It just becomes the background noise when your body is just constantly running on. So over time, that stress response becomes a pattern stored in the nervous system and stored in the tissues of the body. And that's what it's called somatic memory or body memory. So if you haven't fully processed and made peace with your trauma, it's running silently in the background, shaping what you believe about yourself, how you see the world, how you feel, how you behave, and driving physical responses in your body, all without your conscious awareness, even when you're not thinking about it at all. So, an interesting story I want to share with you is that I worked with a shiatsu practitioner in the past. That's like Japanese massage. And he used to work for the Seattle Seahawks, the United States football team. And he told me that sometimes clients would just cry or scream out of nowhere when he's doing body work on them. So that's a real life example of how trauma is being released in real time from the somatic memory, from the body's memory. Okay. Another person I want to bring up is Dr. Gabor Mate. He's a physician who spent decades in palliative care. And he wrote a book called When the Body Says No. And he observed that patient after patient, whether they have cancer, MS, autoimmune disease, fibromyalgia, they all shared a common thread that years of unprocessed emotional stress eventually caused their bodies to collapse. And he argues that unresolved trauma and chronic emotional suppression are often what precedes or comes before chronic illness. So I just want to share a personal story. And I'm not sharing this for you to feel sorry for me. I'm just sharing it so hopefully it can help you connect the dots in your own life. But before I got sick, I had a history of an eating disorder, anorexia, exercise bulimia, binge eating. I also had a history of sexual assault. And right before my health fully collapsed, I went through a relationship breakup and then the loss of my uncle to suicide within 2 weeks. So, how did I cope with all of that? The way a lot of high functioning people do. I stayed busy. I worked in the emergency department. I went to the gym for 4 hours a day and I controlled what I could in my schedule because if I kept myself busy, then I didn't have to feel the feelings. So, guess what happened? 2 months after, my body broke down, and that was the start of my health journey. And it was years into my health journey when I finally read the book, The Body Keeps the Score. And I was not shy about getting help. I tried all different kinds of mental health therapies, especially since at the time the treatments for Lyme wasn't moving the needle for me. So I did EMDR, ketamine assisted therapy, psychedelic assisted therapy, exposure therapy, CBT, ACT, mindfulness. And surprisingly, it actually made my physical symptoms worse. So this is why traditional trauma therapy can backfire. And I just want to clarify, there's nothing wrong with those therapies I listed. They help a lot of people. But here's what was missing in my case, and in the cases of many people with health issues or chronic illness. They didn't establish safety at the neurological level first. So I remember when I did EMDR with a therapist, and the only grounding tool she gave me was holding on to a rose quartz crystal if emotions got really intense during a session. So that's super lovely, but that was not enough for me. So think about it this way. When you have chronic illness, your nervous system has a threshold, right? And you're already maxed out just trying to maintain baseline, and you're stuck in chronic survival mode. So, when you start digging into painful, unresolved memories and emotion, what happens? You're adding more input to an already overwhelmed alarm system. And the limbic system perceives the act of revisiting the trauma as another threat. And so that's why people get re traumatized. And that's what happened to me. And this is why I sequence the healing hierarchy the way it is, which is step one, regulate. It's all about getting your nervous system out of survival mode first, calming the alarm system, creating a foundation of safety so that when we move into step two, reprogram, that's where we address the subconscious patterns, the beliefs, the stored trauma, and that's where your system can actually receive and process it instead of being overwhelmed by it. This is the piece that most mental health practitioners miss. And it's not that trauma work isn't effective, it's that trauma work done in a dysregulated nervous system can cause more harm than good. So the sequence matters here. So, real healing from trauma is not about forgetting, it's not about getting over it, it's not about telling yourself a more positive story. It's about working through all the layers of meaning your mind attached to what happened. So, beliefs that formed, the identity it locked you in, the emotional charge that never had anywhere to go. So, this is where clinical hypnosis and rapid resolution therapy can become so powerful in this step. These approaches are designed to work with the subconscious mind where that implicit memory lives without re-traumatizing the nervous system in the process. So essentially, they help the subconscious update its files to stop running the old program of that painful experience as if it's still happening right now. And instead, finally file it away as something that happened, past tense, that is over and is no longer a threat. And combining that with somatic practices, super powerful. All right. So we are still in step 2 of the healing hierarchy, reprogram the identity. I know it's a lengthy one. And we talked about how we need to have the subconscious mind on board and in alignment with the goals of the conscious mind of getting healed, right? We talked about how the subconscious mind can self-sabotage because it has attached meaning of it's not safe returning to health. We also talked about how identity programming too in the subconscious mind based on what we pick up from family, school system, the medical system, culture, that can also affect what we think about ourselves and how the world works and how our biology is run. And then we just talked about trauma too. Anything that we haven't really truly processed and resolved, any meanings that we attach in that traumatic events, any any identity that we locked into, any emotions that didn't get resolved, that can also affect how our biology is run too. So once we have the subconscious mind on board and in alignment with the conscious mind, this is where we move on to the conscious mind. And the conscious mind consists of your willpower, your affirmations, your intentions, and the type of energy behind your actions. So that's what I'm going to focus on, which is the energy behind your actions. So the way you are trying to heal might be the very reason you are not healing. Not what you're doing, not which protocol, not which practitioner, but the energy behind how you're doing it. Okay, so here's what I mean. We all carry 2 energetic modes of operating within us. One is the energy of doing, right? The masculine energy, action, drive, structure, achievement, control, force. The other is the energy of being, the feminine, allowing, surrender, flow, rest, nurturing, trust, receiving. Neither is better than the other. We need both, and we have both in us. However, we live in a culture that glorifies and is built around doing, the achieving, striving, pushing, hustle culture, productivity culture, optimization culture, the pursuit of more, faster, better. And what my mentor in functional health and I observed is that it's the resistance to the energy of being, of surrendering, of allowing, that's blocking healing. It's the discomfort with rest or the inability to receive help or the identity that is so fused with doing and achieving and pushing that you feel guilty that you're not as productive, or you feel shame that you have to rest, and you feel that slowing down is a failure. So that resistance is stressful to your nervous system. The need for control, forcing, and pushing therapies onto your body, those are all stressors. And trust me, I've been there. I was so desperate to heal, so desperate to control. So I did everything I could to throw at my body to force it to heal. But we've already learned that a stressed nervous system does not allow a body to properly heal. So here's the shift that's needed. Healing isn't just about fixing your body. It's also about your mind and your energy. And one of the biggest things that has to change is learning to stop fighting yourself and rather learn to allow, to receive, to let go of the need to control it, to surrender. And that doesn't mean giving up, right? That's actually one of the most powerful things you can do. It means you're accepting where you are right now. It's saying, okay, this is where I am right now, and it's not forever. One of my past therapists said something that stayed with me that solidified this point. Basically, we are human beings, not human doings. So, healing is not something you do to your body. Healing is something your body does when you finally stop forcing it. But here's where most people get stuck, right? They understand this intellectually, but they've never had the felt experience of it. And this is why I implemented Reiki energy healing into the healing hierarchy and why it belongs here. So, Reiki is a form of energy healing that is based on the premise that all living beings possess a bioenergetic field that exists and extends beyond the physical body. And Reiki practitioners act as a conduit for this universal life energy, allowing it to flow through them and to the recipient. And as a result, support the body's natural healing processes. So a typical session looks like the client laying fully clothed on a massage table while a practitioner gently places or hovers their hands over different parts of their body to help their nervous system relax and their energy to flow freely. And you can also perform energy healing across distance. You don't have to be in person, actually. So Reiki isn't just woo-woo. It's also supported by research as well. Reiki is recognized by the NIH National Center for Complementary and Integrative Health as a legitimate biofield therapy. There's also a lot of peer-reviewed studies that have demonstrated its effectiveness in reducing anxiety, lowering cortisol, decreasing pain perception, and activating the parasympathetic nervous system. I wrote a few papers about this too, so if you want to read any of them, go ahead and email me. I'll send them to you. And also, over 800 hospitals in the United States, such as Kaiser, Cedars-Sinai, Mayo Clinic, also offer Reiki as part of the integrative care. So that's really fantastic that it's now being implemented in mainstream medicine. So Reiki asks you to do the one thing that might be counterintuitive to any protocol you've ever followed, which is nothing. Just receive, surrender, trust, right? That's not a concept that you can just understand in your mind conceptually. It has to be a felt experience in the body, right? A full embodied cellular experience. So as a recipient, there is nothing for you to figure out, nothing to optimize, nothing to do correctly. Your only job is to be still and allow. And that is full surrender. And it's one of the most profound healing states that your nervous system can enter. So as that trust and surrender and allowing begin to settle into your body, not just as a belief, but as a felt experience, you begin to carry yourself differently in intention, in presence, in energy. And you begin to inhabit the energetic frequency of the version of you who's already healed. So Reiki creates that experience in your body before your external circumstances have fully changed. Another thing I would like to bring up is that there is emerging research in biofield science, psychology, psychophysiology. Basically, the practitioner's internal state affects the outcomes of the client. So here's what I mean. The facility holding that space for you matters. Remember how I said our bioenergetic fields extend beyond our bodies? That means when you're interacting with someone, like with a practitioner, you're literally sharing energy, their intention, their inner work, their energetic state. It all transfers. So That's why you want someone who has done their own healing work, someone with squeaky clean energy, because you're not just receiving a technique or a treatment, you're also receiving their energy. So for my approach, I focus on the specificity of the intention that I hold for clients. While Reiki is often used to balance your chakras, relaxation, manifestation, I'm using it with one very focused aim, intention, to shift your energy into a state of surrender, of allowing, so you can fully embody the healed version of yourself. And that's the energetic state that I intentionally create in all of my meditations and clinical hypnosis recordings as I weave in energy healing. So I just want to end this section with something personal. There came a point in my healing journey where I stopped doing things to my body and started doing things with it. I stopped asking my body why it was failing me and started asking what it had been trying to tell me all along. And I hope you come to this discovery too, that your body was never the enemy. And illness is not the problem. It's a message from your body. Physical illness is a manifestation of the misalignment in your brain, mind, and soul, and your body is reflecting that to you. Illness is a message from your body that's telling you that what you were doing, feeling, thinking, believing, how you were living prior to you getting sick was out of alignment. So your body is saying no more for you. So that's communication. And when I finally listened, when I addressed the dysregulated nervous system, subconscious fears, addressed the secondary gains, updated the identity, shifted the energetic frequency, that's when my body began to respond to the protocols. Okay, so we have just covered a lot. We've talked about how your subconscious is running a program your conscious mind didn't choose, how trauma loops keep your body stuck in an old story, how the energy of forcing and pushing is actively working against your healing, and how Reiki creates that felt experience of surrender, of being that your nervous system has been starving for. And I know what it's like to understand all of this intellectually and still feel like you don't know what it's supposed to feel like in your body. So we're going to stop talking about it. And now we're going to do it right now together. So I'm going to guide you through a live subconscious reset. And this session combines clinical hypnosis and Reiki energy healing. And it's designed to drop you into the theta brainwave state. It's also designed to clear the identity programming that's been running beneath the surface and begin installing the energetic frequency of the version of you who is already healed. So this is step 2 of the healing hierarchy, not as a concept, but now as a direct experience in your body. So all I need you to do is let go of trying to do it right, okay? And whenever you are ready, just find a comfortable position and you can uncross your legs if you can. Let your hands rest softly in your lap. And I'm going to shut off my video for a bit. So in just a moment, I'm going to guide you through something that is unlike anything most of you have ever experienced. This is not a relaxation exercise. This is not a visualization. This is not a guided meditation. What we're about to do together is a clinical hypnosis experience. And I want to explain exactly what that means because your conscious mind needs to understand this before it can let go. Hypnosis is simply this: a state of focused attention where the critical, analytical conscious mind steps to the side just for a moment, and the subconscious mind becomes fully available, not to be controlled, not to be manipulated, but to be heard and to be healed. You're always in control. You'll hear everything I say. You can open your eyes at any time, but just know you are safe, completely, utterly safe. Here's what I want you to know about why we're doing this. You have been trying to heal from the outside, maybe supplements, protocols, diets, doctors, herbs, testing. Maybe some of those things have helped. Maybe they've never held, never stabilized, never lasted. That's because the instruction code is deeper. Your subconscious mind is running a program it wrote a long time ago, when being sick felt familiar, when survival felt like identity, when your body felt like the enemy. And today, we're going to update that program. But before we begin, I need to say something important. Something that most people in your situation have never heard. Being sick, as painful as it has been, has also given you something. Maybe it gave you permission to rest in a life that never gave you permission before. Maybe it gave you a reason to say no when you couldn't say no just because you wanted to. Maybe it gave you a reason to be cared for, to receive help, to not have to do everything alone. Maybe it protected you from having to show up fully in a life that felt overwhelming. There is no shame in any of this. These are not weaknesses. These are the brilliant strategies of a mind trying to meet your deepest needs in the only way it knew how. Today, we're not going to fight those strategies. We're going to think them, and then we're going to find you better ones. Because here is what's also true. You don't need illness to have permission to rest. You don't need a diagnosis to deserve you care. You don't need to be in pain to say no. Your healed self can have all of those things and more without the suffering. You're going to leave the version of you who has been sick in this room, not with shame, not with force, but with gratitude. Because that version of you kept you alive. That version of you did the best you could with what you had. And now that version of you deserves to rest. And you're going to walk out of this room in a body that feels like home. So let's begin. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and allow your eyes to close. not because I'm telling you to, but because closing your eyes is one of the kindest things you can do for yourself right now. And as your eyes close, I want you to take one long, slow breath in, hold it gently at the top, and let it fall out of your mouth in one long exhale. Great. That exhale is a signal to your nervous system that says, I am safe right now. In this moment, I am safe. Now bring your attention to the muscles around your eyes, those tiny muscles that have been working so hard, and just let them go. Soften, loosen, release. Let that relaxation spread now like warm water across your forehead, down through your jaw, your tongue dropping softly from the roof of your mouth, the corners of your lips parting just slightly. And notice how quickly that happened. Your body already knows how to relax. It has been waiting for permission. Now, I'm going to count from 3 down to 1. And with each number, you'll allow your eyelids to relax 10 times deeper than they are right now. So relaxed that they feel as though they don't want to open. Not because they can't, but because rest feels so right. 3, letting the eyes go even softer. 2, eyelids heavy, warm at rest. 1, perfect. I invite you to sense and feel this golden light, this golden waterfall coming from above you, this divine intelligence that's safe, grounding, nurturing, bringing along a wave of relaxation, starting from the top of your head, down your scalp, forehead, face, neck, shoulders dropping, chest softening, belly releasing, arms heavy, hands warm, fingers open, going down your hips, thighs, knees, calves, all the way to the tips of your toes. With every exhale, you go deeper. With every sound you hear, even the ones outside this room, you go deeper. With every word I say, even if your conscious mind stops tracking, your subconscious hears everything that matters. So in a moment, I'm going to invite you to imagine a staircase, 10 steps leading downward into the deepest, most peaceful place inside yourself. There's nothing to fear at the bottom of these stairs. There's only quiet, safety, and your own wholeness. 10, 1 step down, feel the ground beneath your feet. 9, deeper, calmer. 8, letting the thinking mind rest. 7, there's nothing you need to do. 6, halfway down, notice how different this feels. 5,
the body beginning to remember what healing feels like. 4, deeper still, completely supported. 3, almost there, surrender is safe here. 2, one more step. And 1, deeply relaxed, deeply present, deeply safe. This is the subconscious mind, open, available, ready. Now I want to invite you to notice something somewhere along your healing journey, perhaps after the first misdiagnosis, or after the third treatment that didn't work, or after waking up sick again when you thought you were finally getting better. Somewhere in there, a belief formed, not a thought, but a belief. Deep, quiet, certain. And that belief said something like, my body keeps failing me. I cannot trust what is happening inside me. My body is broken. I am the exception, the one who doesn't get better. And if that lands, if something in your chest just recognized that, I want you to know that belief is not the truth. It is a conclusion your brilliant mind drew from incomplete information. Because here is what was actually happening. Your body was not failing you. Your body was protecting you. Every symptom was a signal. Every crash was a boundary. Every flare was your body saying, this is too much. I need help. Listen. Your body has never been your enemy. It has been your most faithful companion, working with limited resources, doing its absolute best, waiting for you to stop fighting it and start working with it. Now, in your imagination, I'd like you to see that collection of old beliefs. Give them a shape, a color, a form. Maybe it looks like a wall, a stone, a fog, a chain, a cage. Whatever comes, that's perfect for you. And I want you to thank them because they kept you vigilant. They kept you searching. They were trying to keep you safe in the only way they knew how. And now gently, you're going to let them dissolve, not with force, not with fighting, just like morning fog when the sun rises, naturally, effortlessly, completely. They're already going. And notice the space they're leaving behind, clean, open, new. And into that space, let these words settle. My body is wise. My body is loyal. My body is working for me. Every cell in me is oriented towards healing. And I am safe inside my own body. In your mind now, I want you to see a room, a quiet room with soft light. And in that room, there is a version of you, the version of you who has been sick, the version of you who has been exhausted, the version of you who has spent years searching, fighting, surviving. Look at them. Really look at them. They are brave. They showed up when they had nothing left. They carried so much for so long, and they did more than survive. They kept researching when every door was closed. They kept hope alive through years of disappointment. They never, not once, fully gave up. They also gave you things you may not have expected: depth, compassion for suffering, discernment, knowing what truly matters because you've lost enough to know what you can't afford to lose. And perhaps a calling, the ability to hold others in their darkest moments because you have been there yourself. That version, they are tired and they are ready to rest. So go to them. You can speak to them if you like, or simply place your hands on their shoulders and tell them, I see you, I honor you, I know what you carried, I know how hard it was, but you don't have to fight anymore. You did enough. You were enough. And I've got it from here. And slowly, they begin to soften. The armor they have been wearing for months, maybe years, starts to come off. Not because they're defeated, but because they're finally done. Done surviving, done waiting, done being defined by what is wrong. And as they rest, you notice a door on the other side of the room, warm light coming from beneath it, the kind of light that feels like possibility, like moving through the world in a body that feels like yours. So walk to that door, feel the handle in your hand, and as you open it, step through. On the other side of that door is a version of you who is already healed. Not healed as in perfect, healed as in free. Free from the constant surveillance of symptoms, free from the fear that the next crash is always coming, free from the identity of illness, free to simply live. See them. Notice how they stand, their feet connected to the earth, the tension in their face gone. Notice how they breathe fully, easily, like breathing is just life moving through them. Notice how they inhabit their body, just living inside it like a home they trust. They're not a version who you're trying to become. This is who you already are underneath the illness, underneath the survival, underneath all of it. They have been here the whole time. Now step into that version like stepping into a coat that already fits perfectly, not trying to become them, simply recognizing this is me. This was always me. And feel how this body feels. Feel how this nervous system feels. Regulated, safe. And feel how this identity feels. Grounded and whole. And now they have something to say to you, not as a promise about the future, but as a report from a place that already exists. Let these words enter through your body, not just your mind, as they say, I need you to stop waiting for proof before you believe in me. I am available to you right now. The moment you stop rehearsing illness as your identity and start living as though healing is already in motion, that is the moment your biology gets the memo. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not the exception to healing. You are becoming. For your body was never the enemy. It was always trying to bring you home. So come back home. So before we turn, I want to give your subconscious mind some very specific instructions. Instructions it will carry with it into every moment of every day ahead. Not as rules, but as permissions, as rememberings. In the coming days and weeks, there may be moments when the old surveillance system tries to switch back on. Maybe a sensation in your body, a dip in energy, maybe some pain. And when that happens, something in you will remember this moment without trying, without effort, as a quiet knowing will rise that this is just a signal. This is my body communicating, and I can respond with curiosity instead of fear. Now, before we return, here's a gift for you, a way to come back to this place anytime, in a doctor's office, in a flare, in a moment of doubt. I want you to notice how you feel right now in your body, in your nervous system, in your identity. This regulated, settled, expansive, healed feeling. Now, I invite you to place one hand over your heart. Take one long, deep breath in through your nose. Hold for just a moment and release through your mouth. Every time you make this gesture, hand over heart, one breath, your subconscious mind will return here to this state, this safety, this identity, this knowing that you are already becoming. You have now just installed a healing anchor in your body. So use it freely, use it often. Now, in a moment, I'm going to count from 1 to 5. And with each number, you'll gently return, feeling more alert, more awake, more present, bringing with you everything you experience, every insight, every shift, every new knowing. You are not leaving the state behind. You are carrying it with you into the room, into your day, into your life, because this is who you are now. 1, beginning to return awareness of the room around you, the sounds nearby. 2, fingers and toes waking up, gentle movement if you like, feeling the ground beneath you. 3, halfway back, breathing deepens, energy returns, the healed self coming more fully into the body. 4, almost back, mind becoming clear and focused, a quiet sense of being different. 5, eyes open, fully present, fully here, and fully you. Welcome back. You are not the same person who closed their eyes neurologically. That's not a metaphor. What just happened in your nervous system was real. The identity you stepped into, it lives in your body now. And the anchor we installed, hand over heart, 1 breath, practice it and see how you feel if you can return to that state. So I'll just give you a moment to come back to the room. I just wanted to note that integration after a clinical hypnosis session is important. This is when your subconscious is in a highly receptive state. So I definitely recommend some journaling. Like, what did you see? What shifted? Maybe what is one thing you now know that you didn't know before? Or what does your healed self want to do first? And as you do this, of course, avoid loud music, social media, stressful conversation. Just journal in that relaxed Zen state. And in the next 24 hours, you may feel more emotional than usual. That's normal. You may notice old thoughts arising more loudly. That's not regression. It's just the subconscious clearing. So drink water, be gentle, rest if possible, and use your anchor. And I recommend for maximum impact, replay the audio version of the session within 48 to 72 hours. Repetition deepens the neurological grooves. And 3 sessions spaced over 2 weeks, I would say, produce pretty impactful change. And I will be doing a separate audio version, so you don't have to search through it in the replay. Okay. So we have finished step 2 of the healing hierarchy. We have one more, step 3, rebuild. We're almost done. It's a very quick one. So
This is the piece that explains why you've had such inconsistent results with everything you tried. Not because the protocols are wrong, not because these supplements were bad, not because your practitioners didn't know what they were doing, but because you're trying to rebuild a house with an unstable foundation. So now that your nervous system is regulated, step one, and now that your subconscious identity is in alignment with health and your energetic frequency is coherent with the version of you who's already healed, step two, now the foundation is ready. So, this is where your body at last has permission to rebuild. Step three. So, before we get into the practical, I just want to give you a conceptual reframe because conventional medicine often operates from the warfare model, such as kill the pathogen, destroy the infection, attack the disease, fight the illness. And if you had Lyme disease, especially, you know this intimately, right? The entire focus was kill the Borrelia. And here's what that approach produces: a body that is absolutely depleted. Because the war doesn't just kill off the pathogens, it also depletes you and your vital reserve, your immune resources, your gut integrity, your mitochondria, your adrenals. So you kill the pathogen, but you also destroy the terrain that your healing has to happen in. And then people wonder why they feel worse after treatment than before. So this is why you cannot bomb your way back to health. So yes, you may have an infection. Yes, you may have a pathogen. Yes, that does need to be addressed. But if your immune system is exhausted, your gut is dysbiotic, your detoxification pathways are congested, your body does not have the resources to fight anything, not effectively, not sustainably. So the approach is not more aggressive treatment. The approach is restoring the terrain. And your body has an innate intelligence to heal. And rebuild is not about forcing your body to heal. It's about removing the obstacles and restoring the resources so your body's own intelligence can take over. So, in functional health, we like to address 5 foundational pillars that your biology requires to restore itself: diet, rest, exercise, stress reduction. That not only includes mental, emotional, but also chemical, pathogenic, environmental. And lastly, supplementation. But in order for a protocol to be truly personalized to you and your physiology, we need to talk about where to look. I'm sure that for most of us, when we started our health journey, when we felt off, we've been told that our labs look normal, but then we feel absolutely terrible. So something is not, doesn't make sense. Here's what most people don't realize. Standard lab testing is designed to identify disease, a diagnosable condition, not dysfunction. And standard lab reference ranges samples the entire total population. So it doesn't matter if you're young, old, healthy, unhealthy, have a diagnosis, everyone's included in there. So this creates a very wide bell curve, and everything in between is considered normal. But normal does not equate to healthy. So there's a massive gap between normal and your body functioning optimally. So that is the foundation of functional diagnostic nutrition, which is tests, don't guess. And we use clinical reference ranges that reflect what should be optimal. So instead of chasing symptoms, which can shift, change, and mask what's actually happening, we use functional lab testing to identify the underlying dysfunctions driving those symptoms. And we want to look at the whole person, right? Hormones, immune function, digestion, detoxification, energy production, nervous system status. And the goal isn't to diagnose a disease. The goal is to identify where the body's systems have broken down and then use that data to build a targeted, personalized healing protocol. Because here's the truth. Two people can have identical symptoms, but completely different underlying dysfunctions. So, what works for one can fail the other or make them worse. So, guessing wastes time, money, and energy you don't have. So, this is not about selling you on labs. This is telling you that you should have a map before you start rebuilding. So, every step you take is informed and not guessed at. All right. So, everything I walked you through today, the paradigm failure. Oh, I think someone has their audio on. If you could please turn them off. Thank you. Okay. So everything I've walked you through today, the paradigm failure, the nervous system science, the subconscious programming, the energetic realignment, the terrain restoration, this is not theory. This is the exact sequence I lived and used to heal myself. And I tried to figure this out alone for almost 8 years, right? Going to 20 plus doctors, receiving 15 plus diagnoses, going through 30 plus protocols, spending multiple six figures trying to piece together what I am handing you today in a single framework. So I'm not telling you that to impress you. I'm just telling you because I would like for you to understand the cost of not having this map. And for me, that cost was almost 8 years, something I can't get back. And also over multiple six figures, $750,000, and the time, money it took to get my education, certifications, and training. So that was the price of learning the sequence the hard way. But in today's masterclass, you got the map for free. So I would like to now discuss and invite you, if this resonates with you, to my group transformation course called Becoming, because information alone does not create transformation. It requires the container that holds you while the actual rewiring happens. So, if you had found this sequence, this exact order at the beginning of your illness, how much we have saved, not just in money, but years, energy, relationships that were strained by your inability to show up. Trust me, I've lost a lot of friendships during that time. And how much of your life did you spend in appointments, research rabbit holes, treatment side effects, and the grief of losing certain aspects of your life or aspects of yourself? So I think that is the real cost. If you can be okay with the cost of another year or 5 years going through the wrong sequence, figuring it out yourself. So I think the question is never whether you can afford the right support, but just the question of whether you can afford another year without it. So I just want to tell you who this is for. The person I'm looking for has already done the searching, tried the protocols, already sat with the disappointment of progress that didn't hold. So they are not looking for another thing to try. They're looking for the last thing they will ever need to try. So if that's you, I'm sure you already know it. Your body probably told you. And if your brain is doing the whole, but am I ready yet? I need you to hear me that nobody feels ready. Ready isn't real. The decision is real. And remember what we learned, your nervous system will always find a reason to wait. And our subconscious has the tendency to keep you safe and sabotage because unfamiliarity is unsafe. The unknown is unsafe. The question is not whether you're ready, but the question is whether you're willing. So I'm going to show you what the founding member for the Becoming group course means. There are 9 live calls with me over 12 weeks. So you get direct access to me, a master's level applied psychophysiologist, clinical hypnotherapist, functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner, and a Reiki master. You also get a one-on-one healing hierarchy assessment before we begin, where I look at your specific history, your specific patterns, and your specific nervous system profile. The program also includes a functional lab review and a personalized protocol built around your biometric data. The labs themselves are an additional cost. And I want to be transparent. What I charge you is exactly what the lab charges me. So I don't mark them up. So this is about getting you the most accurate data possible. And that data is what allows me to design a protocol that's truly specific to your biology, not a generic protocol. And if you choose not to do labs, I can absolutely still build you a customized protocol using your health history, symptoms, lifestyle. It just won't have that same layer of precision, but both are valuable. And the labs just take the guesswork completely off the table. My colleagues who are functional diagnostic nutrition practitioners charge 5,000 alone for a 3-month functional health protocol and 3 check-ins. You also get access to a clinical hypnosis audio library for nervous system regulation and subconscious reprogramming, and then access to every recording, resource, tool we build together during the 3 months, as well as access to it 2 months after we end. And lastly, community support through a group chat where I'll be monitoring it throughout the 12 weeks, so you are never alone between sessions. And as a masterclass attendee, your founding member investment is $3,800, and this price is only available for 48 hours after tonight as a big thank you for attending today's masterclass. And after that, it will go up. So here is what happens next. There is an application link that I will post in the chat. It is a 5 to 7 minute form. I personally read every single one. And if I believe we are aligned, if I genuinely think that becoming is what you need, I will reach out within 24 hours to schedule your complimentary healing hierarchy assessment. That assessment is free, it's a genuine conversation. And if at the end of the call, I don't think that it's right for you, I will tell you so directly. So that's one link, takes 5 to 7 minutes, and perhaps it's a conversation that could change the entire trajectory of your healing. So if something in you said yes today, I would love to hear from you. So now that you have the map, you just have to walk the path. So before I let you go, I just want to say something that has nothing to do with applications or pricing. I just want to acknowledge you for you showing up today and for those of you who are watching the replay as well. And I know what it costs to show up when your body has been your greatest source of pain, when hope has let you down before, and when a part of you just wanted to close this window and protect yourself from caring again. But you showed up anyways. And I just want to say that that's not a small thing. That is a nervous system beginning to believe it might be safe to want something again. So, whether or not we work together, I just want you to hear this, that you are not broken. You were never broken. You are doing exactly what a brilliant adaptive nervous system does when it doesn't feel safe. You are surviving, but surviving is not the same as living. And somewhere inside you, right underneath the fatigue, frustration, years of searching, there's a version of you who remembers what it felt like to be in your body without fear, without pain, who remembers what it felt to wake up and look forward to the day, who remembers who they were before the illness became their identity. I just want to say that the version of you, that version is not gone. So I did not build the healing hierarchy for a business. I built it because I spent almost 8 years wishing someone would hand me a map like this. And I promised myself that if I ever found my way out, I would not keep it to myself. And this masterclass was me keeping that promise. And trust me, whoever knows me personally, I hate social media. I don't like putting myself out there, but this work, this mission is important and goes beyond me. So here we are. So Whether you join me inside Becoming or whether you take what you learned today and begin applying it on your own, I am genuinely, wholeheartedly rooting for you. Your healing is possible. I have lived it, and I hope more than anything that one day you will too. So, thank you so much for being here today. It has been the greatest honor to spend this time with you. Take care of yourself. You deserve it, and I will see you on the other side.